Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. New York State's new gun laws continue to be controversial in some parts of the state. Our Josh Feldberg went to Bath to see how the police and people are responding to the new laws.
Earlier this month, Governor Hochul signed what she called landmark legislation into law. This legislation was a package of laws that tightened gun restrictions and boosted restraints on concealed carrying. The laws have been met with mixed reactions across the state and country. One of the biggest changes under the new law was that concealed carry would be a punishable crime if done in sensitive areas. These sensitive areas include restaurants, public parks, playgrounds, public transportation, and more. In response to this law, the Bath Police Department issued a statement regarding what their department's policies towards the law will be. The statement reads that Bath police officers have been instructed not to arrest anyone with a valid New York State concealed carry permit in the village's parks or playgrounds. The statement continues, stating the police cannot be everywhere, and your right to protect your family and others is their priority. I'm here in Bath today. Big Fox reached out to both the Bath Police Department and the Steuben County District Attorney's Office for comments on the policy. Neither office returned our calls. The new state laws don't go into effect until September 2022. It is yet to be seen how the state will react to this policy in Bath and if other departments will follow their lead. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Bath.
6 correctional officers have been injured at Elmira Correctional Facility after being assaulted. These assaults happened in 3 different attacks. 2 of the officers were treated at Arnott Ogden Medical for their injuries. The other officers received medical attention at the correctional facility and remained on duty. The Mega Millions lottery has gone another draw without a winner. This brings the next draw's total to over $1 billion. The new jackpot prize is estimated to be the 4th largest in lottery history. The lottery has gone 29 consecutive drawings without a winner. The next drawing will take place this Friday. Corning Museum of Glass back in the national spotlight as Season 3 of the popular Netflix show Blown Away premiered in early July. Our Big Fox's Maggie Hall had the exclusive chance to speak to one of the show's guest judges.
On Season 3 of Blown Away, I was the guest evaluator for the finale, which means that I was the person that comes in from outside to help make the final decision about who would, I don't like the word win, but who would win the season, and whose work would come on display at the Corning Museum of Glass.
New to this season, the finalists' winning work will be featured at the museum. Another piece of the prize, a residency at one of the top glass-making schools in the world. That's right, the Corning Museum of Glass.
Blown Away is an incredible introduction to the medium of blown glass. Blown glass is totally seductive. It's really exciting to watch. It is high drama, so it's a perfect medium for TV in that way. Some things about television, aren't exactly the way it is in real life. It takes a very long time to get good at glass, and to make glass with some of the time constraints don't quite show you that. But it's an absolutely, Blown Away is an absolutely great introduction to the incredible practice of glass blowing and the very many artists and many different kinds of artists that work in this medium.
Right now you can visit the Corning Museum of Glass and see some of the works from Season 2 of Blown Away. Pieces from the 3rd season will be coming to the museum on August 20th. The final installation will be unveiled later in the fall.
Listen, if you're in this area, you see our billboards, you hear about the Corning Museum of Glass, and you might have an idea in your head of what the museum's about. I encourage you to come again. Come to the museum again. I think you'll be blown away by all the different things that are here.
Be sure to check out Season 3 of Blown Away to see Susie and some of Corning's very own gaffers in the finale. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Corning.
Borrowing money is getting even more expensive for car buyers, home buyers, or anyone who carries a credit card balance. The Federal Reserve hiking interest rates for the 4th time this year, desperately trying to cool the economy and slow down inflation without triggering a recession. Lauren Blanchard has the details on the 4th hike this year.
To fight inflation, the Federal Reserve has made the decision to hike interest rates for a second time in a row by 0.75 of a percentage point.
My colleagues and I are acutely aware that high inflation imposes significant hardship, especially on those least able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation.
It's the fourth rate increase this year, making it more expensive to get a loan or take out a mortgage.
These rate hikes have been large and they've come quickly, and it's likely that their full effect has not been felt by the economy.
The Fed raises rates in hopes it will cool 4-decade-high inflation, but a too aggressive approach could trigger a recession. There is concern if Thursday morning's gross domestic product report shows a second quarter of a shrinking economy. It will, in many economists' minds, mean the U.S. is in recession.
We're not trying to have a recession, and we don't think we have to. We think that there's a path. I do not think the U.S. is currently in a recession.
Republicans aren't buying the downplaying of recession fears by the White House.
We've seen the indicators for months now, families paying more for goods everywhere they go. You can't redefine your way out of a recession. You've got to reverse the failed policies.
Chairman Powell said another large interest rate hike is possible next month. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Top executives of some of the world's largest brands say consumers should not expect relief from high prices anytime soon. Executives for brands like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Unilever say they're dealing with higher costs, causing them to raise prices on their products. The executives say demand remains high and consumers are still willing to spend more on their products, despite inflation hitting its highest level in decades. Twitter says it will hold a shareholder meeting to vote on its $44 billion acquisition by Elon Musk on September 13th. It's currently suing Musk to enforce the deal. The case is set to go to trial in October, but both sides cannot even agree on a trial date. Meanwhile, Twitter says it significantly slowed hiring in the second quarter to manage costs. It imposed a hiring freeze in May and cut nearly 100 employees from its recruiting team this month. Brittany Griner takes the stand in her drug charges trial in Moscow. The basketball star says she never intended to break Russian law. Greg Palcott has more.
WNBA star Brittany Griner making her sixth appearance in a Moscow courtroom Wednesday for her trial on drug charges. At today's hearing, she took the witness stand in her own defense, testifying that her rights were not read to her when she was detained at a Russian airport back in February.
The translations were not very good. I remember one time him receiving a stack of papers that he was supposed to translate to me, and he looked at them for a brief moment, and the exact words were, basically, you're guilty.
Since that arrest, Griner has pled guilty to carrying vape cartridges containing cannabis oil. She has told the court the substance was in her luggage mistakenly, and she had no intention of breaking Russian law. Griner's legal team continued to present its defense on Tuesday. During the hour-long hearing, they tried to make the case that Griner uses cannabis for medicinal purposes.
She uses these substances periodically, strictly for medical purposes, to relieve pain with a doctor's prescription.
The 31-year-old athlete has now been in custody for 5 months. The U.S. State Department has classified her as wrongfully detained.
The senior-most embassy official currently in Moscow was present in the courtroom. They had an opportunity to see Brittany Griner, to speak to her, to check in on her welfare.
Brittany Griner faces up to 10 years in a Russian prison. Her trial is expected to wrap up next month. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
Your complete forecast is next. Plus, a team of doctors is getting help saving lives by one of the most advanced surgical robots. Stay with us.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Into the mid-afternoon, we saw some of that higher level cloud cover and some dense cloud cover move its way into portions of New York as there is a frontal system that is sparking up some showers and thunderstorms, and we'll keep that threat in place at least through the overnight, and then by tomorrow morning we'll see some clearing skies, but still some of that moving cloud cover with even another chance for some thunderstorms to spark up as we step towards that lunch hour. Now what we'll trend to see is that there is a small risk for some storms, but overall when it comes to precipitation for the Elmira area, it is looking pretty minimal, just up to a few chances for some stray showers from that lunch hour into the early afternoon, as the bigger risk for some strong to severe thunderstorms is going to remain more off to the north as well as the east, as we are seeing that a frontal system will be able to use some of that heating that will be in place from Syracuse into Albany and then all the way up into portions of Vermont where there's even an isolated tornado risk as well. So it's just a small risk for a few severe thunderstorms, but for the most part just a few rumbles of thunder are going to be in place. Spotty activity, non-severe overall. Now with some frontal system passages that will happen at least into your Friday, it could be breezy at times, but conditions should be calming by Friday and into Saturday, and clearing skies will be following that secondary cold front. So the weekend is looking more pleasant, but we have to get behind that secondary cold front. So throughout the day on Thursday morning, you'll see that the main system is going to be pushing on through the stronger cold front as well as warm front that could be causing for some of those strong to severe thunderstorms. Little windy between these two systems, so note at times there could be some stronger wind gusts, especially if you see some of those storms flare up just off to the east of Elmira and Corning. There could be a few stronger wind gusts within some of those storm chances. Now a secondary cold front moves through, brings a stray shower or two by Friday, and then we'll start to track in some of that clearing. So rolling through 7 a.m. you can still see a little bit of that spotty activity, but really that's all you'll see. You'll really see an intensification of some of that reflectivity towards Syracuse and off towards Albany as you head into Thursday afternoon and evening, and then just spotty activity mainly moves through the Finger Lakes and into Elmira as we step into Friday morning before we'll return to some of those clear but slightly cooler skies as well. Accumulation wise, not showing too significant overall, just a few hundredths of an inch up to a quarter of an inch towards Binghamton if any of those storms are able to flare up there just outside of Elmira. Now temperature wise, as we'll stay under that cloudier sky and rainy conditions, not too much of a change in the temperature though. You see that ahead of that cold front and secondary cold front, there's still a good influx of that moisture allowing for that severe potential, but we'll hold to about 87 into Elmira as well as 81 into Wayland, 87 into Binghamton as well. Friday's forecast is going to show a little dial back in those temperatures. Overall, we'll see that that passing frontal system allows for that cooling, even 70s up through the Finger Lakes, 82 into Elmira, and then that extended forecast gives us 83 on Saturday under mostly sunny skies, 87 on Monday, so some slight warming and even a chance to flirt with the 90s on Monday with a slight chance to bring in some showers and even thunderstorms from Monday into Tuesday.
If you're getting ready to go under the knife, there's a chance that a robot will assist with the operation. Marianne Rafferty has a look at one of the most advanced surgical robots on the market and how it's changing lives around the world.
Robots and humans are once again joining forces to help change the world. And this time it's taking place inside the operating room at a South African hospital. Where the Da Vinci Xi, one of the world's most advanced surgical robots, is simplifying complex medical procedures.
They magnify the image that you're seeing a lot more than normal laparoscopic stacks. You can maneuver with a lot more accuracy and do finer work and get a better result, so you can preserve more organs that way.
A surgeon stationed at the robot's 3D console controls its 4 arms in real time, guiding Da Vinci Xi as it assists surgeons in performing extremely delicate tasks. And because the robot ensures the highest level of accuracy, medical experts say it helps dramatically reduce a patient's hospital stay following their operation.
Patients have done very, very well. They go home much sooner, so our average length of stay is 3 days.
While also decreasing a patient's risk for post-op complications.
They have a lot less nerve damage. You can see that their function is way better. They all tell me they feel as if they haven't had an operation.
Meanwhile, the Da Vinci Xi isn't just helping surgeons in South Africa. According to Intuitive, the tech company behind the device, more than 6,500 Da Vinci systems have so far been installed in more than 6 countries, including here in the U.S.
A teenage boy walked in his school's graduation thanks to an innovative device. Christine McCarthy has that story.
Be strong, be strong.
Doctors didn't expect Gabriel Machado would ever walk, but he and his mom had other plans.
I'm so proud of Gabriel.
Perla Franco had researched and ordered this robotic walker for her son who has cerebral palsy and is legally blind and nonverbal. The Trexo, with assistance from a tablet, has robo legs that attach to Gabriel's walker and strap to his own legs. Battery power assisting his knees and joints to propel himself forward and take his first steps.
Oh my gosh, I don't have words and I started crying. I cry a lot.
Gabriel's strength and independence have been soaring for months. The device has been there for big moments, his mom and now stepfather Michael's wedding.
Go Gabriel! Go Gabriel!
And his middle school graduation at Perkins School for the Blind last Friday. His physical therapist guiding him down the aisle, Gabriel doing most of the work.
Overall, I think he's happy all the time, but I think he's even happier now.
The family had been leasing the device and fundraising to buy it until learning the Massachusetts Department of Developmental Services has agreed to cover the remaining $26,000.
Thank you to the state DDS for helping us out. She was almost in tears. I was almost in tears. So it's just unreal news when you hear something like that. And it makes you feel good to know that there's good people out there.
As Gabriel keeps making strides, his family is cheering him on, certain nothing is impossible.
It's so important for him and for us as well as family.
The family is now fundraising for Gabriel for another need, for a service dog after his last beloved service dog passed away.
Still ahead, a pediatrician and an engineer teamed up to create a device aimed at preventing children from drowning. How it works, coming up. A pediatrician, an engineer, and others teamed up to help create a device aimed at preventing children from drowning. Brianna Arredondo has more.
When a child drowns, it looks different from what we see in the movies. Tampa Bay pediatrician Philip Matar says it happens quickly and quietly.
We had a young girl who was brought in, 3 years old, tiny little girl, and she was found in the pool at home. I was actually the last person to do chest compressions on her before time of death was called.
That experience stuck with him, so he teamed up with another Florida doctor and an engineer to create a night that watches over children, the pool night. It's a prototype for drowning prevention.
Our goal is to detect when there is a chance that someone could be potentially drowning and prevent them from even getting to the water by sounding an alert at the cell phone through our app and through the pool night device if movement is detected.
The cameras and thermal sensors only send alerts when a life actually depends on it. Engineer David May calls cutting out the false alarms crucial.
So to make sure that only human bodies and animals are detected, and the alert that goes to you is high confidence that it's not wasting your time.
In Florida, state numbers show 48 children drowned so far this year, 5 of them in Hillsborough County, the highest in the Tampa Bay region. In 2021, 98 children drowned statewide.
Pool fences, door alarms, door locks, they're great and they're fantastic and you need them, but they're not enough.
With patents secured, the next step is going mainstream.
So we are looking to work with anyone, whether they be an investor, a corporation.
Drowning is the #1 killer for kids under 5. This device looks to change the trend.
Little rain and extreme heat are having an impact on ranchers in Oklahoma. The weather conditions have cut grass production, making it harder for them to feed their cattle. Michelle White has more.
The record-high temperatures this summer, coupled with the lack of rain, has cut the grass production for ranchers to feed their cattle in half. And the grass that does grow grows in short. That hurts the food supply for cattle and what is stored up for the winter. Kurt Thacker owns Circle T Cattle Company in Inola.
This is one of the fields from which Thacker feeds his cows. It's Sudan grass, and in the summertime, it normally grows to about 6 or 7 feet tall, and he would have harvested it for hay to feed his cows at least one time by now. But this summer, because the temperatures are so high, it's only growing to about 2 feet tall.
With this drought, high temperatures, the economy as a whole, it's affecting the end product. It's affecting cattle prices when we sell them at the market. It's affecting hay sales. We're chasing hay at double the price of fuel for half the amount of hay. So It's just came together for a perfect storm for the cattlemen.
So far, he hasn't had to sell his cattle, but he says many ranchers have, which is saturating the market. And that also hurts the ranchers trying to sell cattle they can't feed. He says all of those inputs, higher costs for feed, hay, and fuel, will raise prices for beef consumers. Luckily for Thacker, he started taking his beef to the farmers market.
We have marked up a little bit, but we're trying to keep our prices down. And what I'm doing is trying to make a little more money on my cattle through marketing retail beef rather than going through all the middlemen.
But he says, like all ranchers, he's hoping this week's rain helps them.
Stay with us. We'll have more right after the break. We want to leave you with a smile, a new twist on an 80s classic. LEGO is releasing a version of the Atari 2600 gaming console. The Atari was first released back in 1980. This LEGO version will be available on August 1st for $240. It includes a controller with a joystick that is supposed to feel just like the original. The set also includes LEGO brick versions of Asteroids, Adventure, and Centipede. Some good retro fun there. I'm Scott Beadle. Thanks so much for watching.